Good morning and welcome to Paul T Reviews. And in this video, I'm going to review this Campark TC07. They sent me this camera to give an honest review, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I've put it through its paces, it's been out in the garden for a number of nights, and in this video I'll show you what comes out of the box. I'll go through all the settings with you, so if you're new to trail cameras, you'll be up and running in no time, with confidence that your camera is going to perform the way you want it to do. And of course, we'll be seeing results from the camera, both daytime and nighttime. What attracted me to this camera in particular was, first of all, as you can see here, we've got a solar panel. I really like solar panels on trail cameras. I was dubious at first that they would indeed charge up the internal battery in our English climate, but in fact they do so really well, and I've been surprised. Solar panel is removable. There we are. So we can just take the panel straight off, and indeed you charge it here through USB. And obviously, when you first get your camera, it's a good idea to put this on charge for a number of hours, maybe 6 or 7 hours. So it starts off with a really good full charge. And indeed, while we're talking about the charging of these cameras, inside you can put 8 AA batteries, and they go in the back here. There we are. Now I've put 8 AA batteries in here, but with this solar camera, you don't have to put any batteries in fact. In the winter though, if it's very cold and the internal battery is running down a little bit, it might want to move over to external batteries. If you don't have external batteries and the internal battery has run down in cold weather, at night the infrareds might only fire for a second or two. In fact, that happened to me with another camera. So I recommend putting in the AA's, but you probably won't need them. And then this just slides back in here like this. The other feature of this camera that attracted me was the twin lenses. It's got a lens dedicated to nighttime with an infrared filter, and the second lens is dedicated to daytime. And I was really excited to see the quality you'd get from this camera when we've got 2 dedicated lenses. And spoiler alert, I was not disappointed. In fact, the daytime lens was quite something. I've never seen anything like it from a trail camera. Just having a little look at the body here, we have the 2 lenses here, the twin lenses, the infrared LEDs. We have 2 banks of infrared LEDs, and then the sensors. And we've got 3 sensors there. You can actually turn on just the one sensor in the settings, as we'll see later, or you can have all 3. And I think obviously all 3 has got to be better. And I think the 3 sensors coming out here cover the same angle as the lenses, which is 120 degrees. At the back here, we have some really nice, strong supports for the strap, and serrated edges here for gripping the tree. There are 2 clasps, 2 fairly heavy-duty clasps, I must say. Yeah, that's pretty heavy duty, and a larger one here. I actually like this larger one because if you have gloves on, it's easier to get hold of and open and close. And the reason it has an extra large one, there's a hole here which extends right through the strap mountings, so you can put a Python cable to secure your camera if you've got it out in public areas. And indeed, if you've got it in private areas as well. When you take the solar panel off, they've provided a top here to cover and protect the terminals. I've had this out in the rain with the solar panel on, and when I took the solar panel off, it was quite well protected against the rain. This is rated IP66, so it's pretty waterproof in pouring rain, and I found that the case. So far, I haven't had a problem at all with any moisture getting to these terminals. At the base here, we have the tripod mount, a power bank socket here, if you are using external power. Let's have a look at how well this tripod mount fits on a tripod. And it just so happens I have a handy tripod here. This is a little tripod I bought for about £16 on Amazon. I've got links to everything down below, the camera, the equipment I use, memory cards, and this little tripod because I think it's fantastic. I wanted a little light tripod that I can put out in all weathers because it was so cheap. So let's just have a look at how well this camera fits on here. There we are. That fits on really well. It's a 1/4" 20 socket. So it fits any normal tripod. I use a lot of tripods because I have the trail cameras in my garden all the time. However, now I'm putting tripods out in the woods, and so I'll be using straps and other different mounts. So that worked fine. You have to buy a memory card for this camera. There's none included. And the memory card that you buy is the standard full-sized SD card. That looks like that. They cost about £10, $10, although I tend to get slightly faster cards. And this particular one is a SanDisk Extreme Pro. But you can get just the SanDisk Extreme and various other makes. This is a 4K camera, so if you're going to shoot at 4K, I would recommend that you get a Class 10 U3 memory card. And the U3, you'll see a 3 inside the U on the front of the card. So I would get one of those. They're just a little bit more expensive, but well worth it because they have the write and read speeds to handle 4K. And indeed, I'll just put this memory card back like that. And indeed, the sensor on this camera is a native 4K. It's not interpolated. It's a Sony 4K sensor, which I'm quite impressed with, actually. We have a lovely big screen here. I think it's about 2.4-inch screen, color screen, and the buttons down below. And we'll be looking at that closely now. Let's have a look at the settings on this camera. We'll just turn it on to set up there with the little button at the bottom. And we've got the welcome screen. So let's see what we see on the welcome screen. The internal battery's at 100%. We've got the date at 1296 pixels at 30 frames per second. We've got 22 hours and 34 minutes left on our card. And to enter the menu, we just press the menu button in the top left, and we come immediately to the mode, photo and video. If you want the camera to take a photo first and then a video, leave it on that. Otherwise, just video or just photo. The PIR interval, that is the interval between one recording and another. Now 10 seconds is the minimum. You can have minutes and seconds, but I prefer the absolute minimum, which is 10 seconds. PIR sensitivity, start with high and see how you go. Infrared LED, I would set it to auto. The side PIRs, leave that to on so that all 3 of the PIR sensors are available. Time-lapse, if you want to shoot a time-lapse, you would switch this to on. Once you switch it to on, it'll ask you how often you want a picture taken. The minimum is 5 seconds. So I'm going to make sure that we've got that off. The monitoring period, this can be really useful. If we just put that to on for the moment, we've got timer 1 and timer 2. So timer 1, at the moment I've got it set for 1600 hours to come on, and then 9 in the morning for it to stop activating. So you don't have videos all through the day. Now just at the moment I'm going to switch that to off, as I tend to want to record 24 hours a day. Now we move over to the right, and these are the images. We have the image size. Now, because this is a dual lens trail camera, we've got a choice of the daytime lens, and that goes from 13 megapixels to 60. Now, this is a 13 megapixel sensor, so I'm going to set it to 13 megapixels because I can interpolate up the pictures on the computer. But if you want larger pictures, then choose what's appropriate for you. And then nighttime, so I'm going to choose 8. Picture number. So this is the number of photos that will be taken if you select photos only or photos and video. And the maximum you can select is 10. I'll leave it at 1. The shutter speed, you do have a choice of shutter speeds. I would recommend a 30th, the fastest. Let's move to the right to the videos. Again, we've got 2 lenses, of course, so there's a daytime choice. This is a Sony sensor that shoots native 4K at 30 frames per second, so that's what I'm going to choose. However, you do have the choice of 2K at 60 frames per second if you have fast-moving action. I'm going to choose 30 frames per second, 4K, the best quality. And then let's see what we've got for the nighttime. 4K isn't available on the nighttime lens, but the highest is 1296 pixels at 30 frames per second, and I'm going to choose that. The video length, I like to choose 30 seconds. However, you may want 10 seconds or 20 seconds, depending on your situation. Record audio, well, of course I want audio on. And now we move to the right and we've got further settings. The date and time you can set, the time format, if you like 12-hour clock or 24. The date stamp, that's the banner at the base of the video or picture, which tells you the date and the time and the phase of the moon. Camera name, it will come out at TC07, but you can change that if you want. There's a password setting if you want to set that. If you're going to want to look at the pictures on your phone through Wi-Fi, then you want the Bluetooth to be on. All the Bluetooth does is pair with your smartphone so you can turn the Wi-Fi on, because Bluetooth takes less power than having the Wi-Fi on all the time. To pair with your phone, the password is 12345678, which of course you can change. Now, just a point here that I'd like to mention, that this is the camera's Wi-Fi, this is not the internet. So you have to be within about 30, 40 or 50 feet of the camera to be able to pair the Wi-Fi with your phone. Auto Wi-Fi off, so once you finish using the Wi-Fi after 2 minutes, 3 minutes or 1 minute, it'll turn itself off. You can have a beep sound if you want when you press the buttons. Various languages. Formatting the memory card. When you first put a memory card into this camera, make sure you format it. And indeed, every now and again, it's much better to format the memory card in this camera, not on your computer. But you have to remember that once you do format the memory card, all the data will be deleted. Default setting, this will just change everything back to the factory settings, and then you've got the version. And if Campark have an update for this camera, then you will use this facility to update it. So now, most of those settings you won't need to change again. If we press the menu button again, we come out to the live view. So there we've got the table in view. And let's have a look and see if there's any videos on the memory card. So we'll press this button here, which says replay. So what have we got here? This is a photograph, a 13 megapixel photograph, the date it was taken, the battery's at 100%, and then the 7/7 means there are 7 pictures and videos on this memory card at the moment, and we're looking at number 7. So there's the first one. To delete these without formatting, just to delete each individual picture, you press the menu, it's got delete. delete the current. So you've got to be careful here that you select the current one or delete all. I'll delete the current one. That's that one deleted, and I'm now going to delete all of them because I have downloaded all these. Delete all. There we are. There are now no images on the memory card. And we're back to the live view. I've been using this trail camera for about a month. I'll continue to use it and be posting more videos of the footage as time goes by. And these are my conclusions so far on the Campark TC07. It's a high-end camera costing around $170 or about 142 English pounds. So I'm going to give it a high-end appraisal. Pros and cons. Build quality. It feels solid and well made, with thick plastic where it needs to be, secure clasps, and of course it's waterproof. However, this all gives it a slightly bulky feel compared with some other smaller trail cameras. I like the solar panel, which works really well. It's removable, which has certain advantages, but personally I'd prefer a fully integrated panel. It has an excellent native 4K Sony sensor. It's low glow, 850 nanometers, so image quality is good. Of course, one of the main features are the twin lenses, and as well as extra quality, there's no noise of an IR filter moving. It produces sensational colour and definition on the daytime lens. Some might say the colour is a little bit too vivid, but I really like it. The colour balance is also very good. The sharpness in the central area is outstanding, although towards the edges it does lose a little bit of its sharpness, which often happens with wide-angle lenses. The lens of this camera is 120 degrees. The colour images do suffer a little bit from purple fringing. A pet hate of mine, but it can be eliminated with software. It also affects high-end TV movie cameras as well, so maybe I shouldn't be so critical, and most people wouldn't even notice it. The nighttime sensor is really good, but in my opinion, it's no better than some of the other single-lens high-end cameras. I was hoping for a little bit better definition of those nighttime shots, but it's okay as it is. I have a concern about the sensitivity of the PIRs. I have it set to high, but it has missed a few squirrels passing by. I feel the claimed 0.1% trigger speed is very optimistic, although it has picked me up here quite quickly. The Wi-Fi connection between my smartphone and the camera using the Hunting 4K Pro app is reliable and has never failed to connect when I'm within its stated range. In fact, I even use it when I'm in the kitchen and the camera's outside. So should you spend high-end money for this camera? Well, I'd say yes if you want or need the main features I've outlined and don't care about the very poor audio. As a photographer, I do look very carefully at the pictures and really appreciate quality images. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, please give it a like. It helps my channel. And I'll see you next time. Bye.